common sense for the American people. Scott Jennings is here on Salem. Interesting story brewing in national politics. Let me see if I can set it up a little bit. There is this prominent Palestinian Muslim activist in New York City named Nerdeen Kiswani. And she is a co-founder of a group called Within Our Lifetimes. And she put out a statement, a social media post saying, and I'm going to quote it, "Finally, New York City is coming to Islam. Dogs definitely have a place in society, just not as indoor pets. Like we've said all along, they are unclean." So that got the conversation rolling. And my next guest said this in response: "If they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one." And that has set off a round of back and forth in the national political media. My next guest is Congressman Randy Fine, representing Florida's 6th Congressional District. The Hebrew Hammer is here. Randy, thanks for coming back on the Scott Jennings Show. You seem to be at the center of a national conversation right now. There's a lot of people who are condemning your statement, and they want you to resign from office. I'll just start here. What say you to those people?
Well, I hate to disappoint, and thanks for having me, Scott. I'm not going anywhere. What's remarkable is that their outrage isn't that we are supposed to kill our dogs because Muslim immigrants say they are not halal. I don't want us to have a choice. Anyone who wants to come to America can practice their own religion however they want, in peace and in privacy. But when you attempt to force your values on me, that's where I am going to make a choice. And what's extraordinary is all of the Democrats that have attacked me, not a single one has said they respect the American's right to own a dog. Not only are we supposed to let all these people in, we're supposed to smile and submit while they redefine what it means to be in America, and I'm not going to put up with it.
Yeah, you've been attacked by all sorts of prominent Democrats and media people out there. They seem to be keying in on your comments and on your social media posts. Everybody from Gavin Newsom to Jake Tapper from CNN to quite a few others. Have you been surprised at the volume and level of attacks that you're facing from the American left?
No, yes and no. No, because this is how they win. They silence us by calling us names and demanding we submit. And frankly, most of my colleagues are too nice. They just want to get along like we're all at a country club, and why do we have to argue? And what I've learned in my time in Washington is Democrats are ruthlessly effective in using their power and on beating us to shut up. And they are learning I won't shut up. That's why I got my nickname, and they don't know what to do about it. What does surprise me is the Democrats have chosen to be on the side of puppy killing. I mean, this is a 90-10 issue. We want people to be able to have dogs. Democrats are saying, no, no, no. If that upsets Muslim immigrants, everyone has to give up their dogs. So this is a loser for them politically, but, you know, I guess so were men's playing women's sports, and that didn't stop them. That surprises me a little bit.
So something I'm trying to understand about Nerdeen Kiswani's statement was this just a trial balloon being floated up by one person, or is this a broadly held political view in New York and in other places that we should be moving towards banning dogs as indoor pets? What's your view? I mean, is this being talked about more than maybe we might realize?
This is a widely held view in Islam that dogs are not haram. In fact, in Judea and Samaria that were controlled by Muslims in Israel a few years ago, they paid $5 to every Palestinian who would go and kill a dog because they wanted to get rid of them. Muslims, I'm not criticizing their religion, but their religion says that dogs are not good things to have as pets. So she is not unique in this view. I think what she is a little bit unique in is she's saying the quiet part out loud. And there are parts in Europe where they have said, we don't want dogs here because they are haram. You do not have to look hard to find these videos. The question we have as a country is, are we going to change who we are as Americans because these people want to come here. The rule always was you come to America, you assimilate into our culture. We don't change to become yours. And that seems to be what has changed on the left. They expect us to give up our dogs because other people don't like them.
Congressman Randy Fine of Florida is our guest this hour. There's some other things going on in New York City in this general conversation, Congressman, that I want to get your response to. In fact, let's play cut number 10. The Islamic call to prayer is being blasted around New York City at 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's hear this.
Here is Atlantic. We are hearing Azan. Come here.
So this audio is from the streets of New York City, 5 o'clock in the morning. Muslim call to prayer. Congressman Fine, you ever think you'd hear something like that in the United States of America?
No, I certainly did not, and we need to cut it out because it's not a call to prayer. It is a call to submit before Allah. That is what it is. Look, fact of the matter is if Muslims want to pray in their mosques, more power to them. They can set their alarm just like the rest of us do. They do not need to wake us up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And in Minneapolis, it's been as early as 3:30 in the morning to pipe this nonsense. We live in the United States of America. There are 57 Sharia-compliant countries in the world. I'm going to make sure we do not become number 58.
Yeah, this video is making the rounds on social media, causing quite a bit of outrage right now. Also, let's talk about the NBA. Portland Trailblazers basketball player Deni Avdija made history as the first Israeli to play in the NBA All-Star Game this weekend. For this honor, he was greeted by courtside attendee Spike Lee, who showed up at the game covered in Palestinian flags and colors, taunting him. What's your reaction to that, Randy?
Well, he also showed up with red arrows, which were used to show targets that Palestinians wanted to kill. I mean, the whole thing is repugnant. And keep in mind, he's just a basketball player who happens to be Jewish and happens to be from Israel. I thought we're not supposed to hold people accountable because of the actions of others. And for him to choose to make this message in this way, it shows that he's an anti-Semite. It shows that he's anti-Israel. And frankly, it just shows that he's an idiot.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to me. If you were to switch up the costumery here and put a different kind of person and different kind of costume courtside at the NBA All-Star Game, you wonder if that person would be. And of course, I watched some of the broadcasts, and of course, they were showing Spike Lee prominently on there, as he was obviously taunting this Israeli All-Star. Pretty poor showing by the NBA. Let's switch gears and talk a little Washington news, Congressman. The House passed the Save America Act last week. You voted for it. What's your view? Do you think it will come out of the Senate or not?
Well, I hope so. Look, the good news is 50 senators have now publicly stated that they support the bill. And with J.D. Vance, that gives us a majority. Now, Democrats have said they will filibuster it, and which normally would require 60 votes. Why will they filibuster it? Because they need illegal immigrants to vote in order for them to win. They can't win elections anymore with just Americans. So the question becomes, will the Senate move to what we all remember from Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, the talking filibuster, where Democrats can stand up and talk until they can't talk anymore, but when that's over, then we get to vote. And that will take some time. It will take a week, 2, 3, for all the Democrats to justify why something 80% of Americans want, voter ID, is a bad idea. But at the end of that, we will get a vote. And so we all need to be calling on the Senate to have the talking filibuster, make Democrats stand up and justify why people shouldn't have to show a driver's license if they want to go and vote.
I've been somewhat flummoxed, surprised even at some of the Democratic arguments against the Save America Act, principally that if you are black, if you are rural, if you are a married woman, They made a list of all the people that they consider to be too dumb, I guess, to figure out how to vote if this bill passes. Of course, all those groups overwhelmingly support voter ID. What's your reaction to the argument vector that Democrats have used against this? I think it's blowing up in their face, personally.
Well, look, I think we have to accept that we live in an incredibly racist world. Last week, I flew home from Washington. I had to do the racist act of showing my ID to get on the plane. And then I had to do the racist act of showing my ID to pick up my rental car. And when I needed to pick up my prescription, I apparently had to do the racist act of showing my ID to get my prescription. They don't have an argument. They don't have one. So they make up this crazy gibberish nonsense to try to stop it. It is insane to say that women and minorities somehow are less capable of getting a driver's license than a white man. It's insulting to them, and they should be angry about it because, of course, they're not any less capable of getting these things. But Democrats don't have an argument, and so they're trying to come up with poppycock to try to talk people off of it. Everyone, Republicans, independents, Democrats, black, white, Hispanic, all groups, men and women, everyone thinks you should show a photo ID in order to vote. It's just common sense, and we need to get it done.
Perhaps somewhat related, the government partially shut down a few days ago over DHS funding. Democrats want to tie the hands of ICE in terms of enforcing immigration law. Republicans have balked at this, although ICE is still funded for the next couple of years. They've just succeeded in shutting down other parts of the Department of Homeland Security. When do you think an agreement will be reached? Anytime soon, or are we in for a protracted partial government shutdown here?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I mean, I think the president's supposed to give his State of the Union next Tuesday. They may want to keep the government shut down for some sort of statement about that, or maybe to get him to postpone it. He said he won't. I don't know. But what Americans need to understand is this. We swear an oath to fight for Americans when we get elected to Congress. And for the third time in 6 months, Democrats have shut down the government, not because they want things for Americans, but because they want things for illegal immigrants. First, it was free health care for illegal immigrants. Now it's stopping the deportation of illegal immigrants. There are 1.6 million illegal immigrants who have fully gone through our judicial process, have been told to leave, and refuse to do so. 800,000 of them are criminals beyond that, and they want us to stop that. And the reason the issues are related is they want these people in the country, and they want them to vote. So we can't give any quarter. We've got to be sending home every single illegal immigrant without exception.
That's Congressman Randy Fine of Florida. He is the best friend to man's best friend, taking care of protecting our dogs. And the big news today, telling the people who want him to resign to pound sand. Congressman, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, Randy Fine of Florida.